Her initial reaction, why you hit her, why you got in her face, was because she called you a bitch. But you're online basically saying, yeah, this is from my ancestors. You're writing the narrative of the N-word thing because that's how everyone hates Gretch in the media, right? But then you're sitting on a podcast with Bobby Altoff. Oh, yo, that's crazy. You're fucking right. I don't know, like it's just like you're more outraged. It's giving fake outrage over Gretch.
This the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, rock, top, top.
Blah, blah, blah. Welcome back to another episode of the Petty Headquarters. I'm your host, Tiana Lock, and this is
Josie Strange.
And we are back at it again with another episode, y'all.
Yeah, and if you guys are new, welcome. We're the Petty Headquarters. We cover things like pop culture, internet culture, reality TV, and baddies.
Period.
Yeah.
So buckle up because we're going to get into this baddies recap. And let's just get into this week's dose of mess.
Yes, ma'am.
So this episode,
we pick up where we left off. Where Biggie's saying...
Hold on.
What?
Before we even get into the recap, I just want to say this episode got me tight.
Why?
This episode, I'm just so over it. I don't know.
What?
Yes, but I guess we just gonna have to go through it and you're gonna see why this episode got me so tight. Like,
yes.
I can't.
So we pick up where Biggie's saying she can't be recreated.
Right.
And I guess, she's feeling some type of way with Biggie. With DTB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
then Tavy starts arguing with DTB because DTB want to fight. Because she's basically saying, like, you held my hands down when Natalie attacked me at the reunion.
Right.
And Tavy's, like, standing on it, basically.
Right. So basically Tavy squares up with DTB and then she tries to like say why she held her hands. And honestly, I call bullshit. Like she was really saying, I was trying to break it up. I was trying to separate y'all. I'm like, girl, please. You want to stay in Natalie's good graces. Like we do not have to lie.
It's showing very hard. It's giving a little...
And that's why Fauna and the preview was like, you were dick riding, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I get it. I feel like there's just a way to go about shit.
Yes, for sure.
And it's really, Tavy's just not doing so well.
No, she's really not. But
and it's funny because even Janelle says in on the confessionals that she could tell Tavy didn't want to fight.
Yeah, she even said that she didn't want to fight. So it's like, I get that. So at this point, they're squaring up, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked like they was dancing. They was salsa dancing for a bit. I'm like, oh my God, are we gonna do this again with Killer and Tink? Like, what are we gonna do?
It's so funny because as they're doing their little dance, it's like you hear who was it saying work, and then twerk.
Yes, I heard that. I didn't know who that was. And I meant to go back and see who it was, see whose mouth was moving, but I didn't see whose mouth was moving, so I just kind of really didn't give a fuck. So I was like, okay. And then they eventually fight. They fight like twice, right? And Tavy, she gives her, she puts in the work.
She does. She definitely got DTB.
Yeah, she did. She got one up on her for sure.
For sure. But at this point, DTV's like, I'm gonna save my energy for Natalie because that's the bitch I got smoked with, and she not even here.
Right, exactly. So basically,
go ahead.
Biggie yells that she was the first MVP. I don't know if this was edited weird, but the sequence of events in this part was Biggie yelled that she was the first MVP, and then Rolly decided to congratulate DTB for getting MVP twice in a row. So I'm wondering, Rolly, was that a little bit of shade?
I feel like Rolly's was shady towards Biggie this entire episode because even when Biggie was recapping later with I forgot who else, but Rolly was included. I think it was Scotty or I don't remember who, but Biggie says, she's just talking about how DTB's a cloud chaser. And Rolly just says, well, I like DTB. And it just came off weird. And even later on, and this is something I wrote in my notes, but I'm just going to say now, I feel like Rolly projected what what she felt towards Biggie, towards to her, because she said something like, she asked Scotty, do you think Biggie is jealous of DTB? And it's like, why would she be jealous of DTB?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like Rolly talking about Biggie being jealous, but you were jealous of Biggie when she first came about.
Right. It's so funny that you made that connection.
Yeah.
I didn't even make that connection. To be honest, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I was like, that's why Scotty was like, no, I don't think she's jealous.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not even in the same lane. And I think that's why it's important that Biggie distinguished that. Because she's like, I'm not a big girl. We're not even from the same place, the ethnicity.
And she even mentioned that, too, when she does sit down with Rolly and whoever else was
Lex.
there. Was it Lex?
I can't remember.
I don't think it was. I don't know who it was. I have it written down, but I don't know. But basically, she says, like, she didn't feel like that towards Rolly when they both came in. They're both big girls, and she didn't feel no way.
Yeah.
Rolly does say in her confessional, she's like, I feel like Biggie wants me to side with her, but like I'm neutral. I'm like,
and that's what I'm saying. I feel like Rolly shows a lot of the initial jealousy you've seen towards Biggie in the beginning when Biggie first came onto Baddies.
Yeah.
Because the only one really jealous of Biggie here was Rolly,
right?
Which made it a huge deal. Let's not forget, because even Biggie calls out and said, I was never jealous of Rolly. We were never in competition.
Right.
Because we're just not the same.
Right.
And I agree.
I agree too. So yeah, you're probably right on that. There may be a little bit of projection,
And Biggie continues to say that the reason why she doesn't like DTB is because she's a clout chaser. And not for nothing, I think Biggie has a valid reason to not like DTB because she came out of nowhere and really dragged the shit out of
she really did.
Biggie.
She really did.
For
she
clout.
Really did.
Like, granted, it was hilarious.
Bro, it's so bad though. She really did.
Yeah, like I feel like Biggie has a valid reason.
Valid.
And
they just don't like Biggie. That's really what it is. So now Biggie and DTB are going back and forth because after Rolly congratulates, DTB on being MVP, Biggie comes out and was like, but I was the first MVP though.
Yeah.
Congratulate me on being the first MVP.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, it did look a little like haterish.
A little bit, yes.
Because why did you try to take the shine off of DTB?
Yeah.
And that's when DTB's like, girl, you see, she's jealous. She's jealous, right?
Yeah, and even Sapphire says it in her confessionals that she didn't like that Biggie did that because it don't look good. But it's like all these girls do that to each other.
Do it. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do all do it.
Because doesn't DTV mention Meatball? She said Biggie acting like Meatball.
Yes, and then Biggie said it never gave Meatball. And I'm like, wait, aren't you and Meatball cool? Am I missing something? Like,
I don't know, but I do
damn.
know that Meatball ended up addressing it or something
Did
like that.
she?
Yeah, online. It was just like a subtle "you can never be me" like type thing to Biggie. But still, it's like all the girls do that. Summer did the same thing when what's her name got her chain, and Summer
Jazz, right?
Right, and Summer went on to fucking try to snatch the chain and take the shine away from her. I feel like it's a common thing that the girls do here, wherever it's stemming from. You know what I mean?
It's just like, nah, you're not going to come in here and think you're going to get your moment. I'm going to just take your moment.
Yeah,
Clearly it was stemming from there.
And also, we get a little bit of insight onto how Biggie kind of feels this season later on when Anna Mac comes, because she says last season that she was on Baddies, she was going through shit.
Right.
She was, and people were coming at her for that because she wasn't trying to fight, she wasn't trying to participate, and she's tired of being a pushover and taken advantage of. So like now we're seeing her stand up for herself. And so, like, we gotta, like, I can't be mad at it, is what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather her speak out and look like that than be what she was during Baddies Caribbean.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So they go back and forth, and then out of nowhere, we switch over to the issue between DTB and Tavy and find out what their beef was. And, DTB felt like Tavy switched up on her for Natalie because she does say that they were cool, right? They were cool. And Tavy claims that she felt set up.
Yeah, even DTB was like, you think I'm using you? Like, Tavy just feel like
literally.
covering her ass.
No,
that's what it was.
That's what it is. Of course, she's gonna lie because the same way Janelle lied because her loyalty is to Natalie.
Right.
It's literally the same thing. So I'm just laughing at this point. And honestly, I'm just looking at the screen like, what am I watching? But whatever. So then we hear the dramatic music, and Suki comes in looking like a fucking super deep diver, young nigga. Like she came in looking like a ninja. Everything. Everything. Right.
She came in fucking ready. I've never seen Suki so like serious. Like she was dead ass. Like I feel like, you know, Suki really does come from like places. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like we saw that.
Like the hood?
Yeah, but yeah. And she's like, I don't know. I just feel like we seen the Suki from back in the day type shit, because she was wherever this strong feeling towards Gretch is coming from, it brought it out of Suki, because she came in fucking hair hidden and everything, and came in and fucking Gretchen comes and runs towards Suki, and it was up. It happened so quickly.
And Gretchen was getting her ones before security broke it up, right? And then they fight twice, and you see that Suki had hit Gretch with something. Allegedly, we didn't see what she hit her with, but people online are saying that Suki had on brass knuckles. And that's why, like, Gretch's forehead was like a little small part was split open in the middle.
Split open.
Yeah, and bleeding. And honestly, like, that shit kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, here's Gretch still trying to play nice, still trying to fight fair. And Suki has never given you a fair one. So I'm not going to lie. If I was you, I would just stop playing fair. I would just start playing dirty from jump. Because 100%. It's like really fucked up to see that clearly the security guards that are there that are supposed to protect you, they're protecting Suki, right? You know, everybody's like breaking up the fight so quickly. They're not letting Gretch get to her. But I'm like, Suki has had so many times to not only sneak, but to spray bear mace in her face, to cut her fucking neck. You know, she had to get stitches. And now you're wearing shit on your hands, or you're bringing weapons in there, and you did that again. Like, to be honest, to me, the situation was never that fucking deep for it to get to this point.
I agree, and if Fauna and Kokilla agree the same, I feel like a lot of the girls see it and they think it's a little bit extra. But at the end of the day, I feel bad for Gretchen. That is, they already know that they don't like that I say that. And granted, you're entitled to your opinion as I am entitled to mine.
Right.
However, to also put accountability to Gretch, we can't forget how she tore Jayla up. She played dirty in the last season that she was there. So it's almost like, you know, and yes, she came in for a redemption arc, basically try to come back and try to redeem herself, redeem her reputation in the Baddies franchise. But at the end of the day, where was that Gretchen that bit the shit out of Jayla, bit the fingers?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You know what I mean? Like, where was that? Like, I feel like at some point, if you're getting taken advantage of, whether the people edited you a certain way or not, like, I just feel like you should have played dirty back.
I agree. 100%.
You know?
I agree 100%.
And you're not on a high horse when you are saying, oh, but I've been fair. Because if you were always fair, like, let's just say like a DJ Sky, if you were always fair is one thing, then okay. But like, you were also not that seasons ago, and people have still been holding that over your head anyway. So it's like, why don't you just be that then? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel bad for Gretch, but I also feel like there's at some point you need to take the matter into your own hands.
Yeah. So, and I think that goes back to your point. She came in for a redemption season, right? So I'm thinking maybe that's why she wanted to play fair and didn't want to do the most like she did the last time, because she is trying to redeem herself. But seeing as Suki is just going above and beyond to not look dumb on TV, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. She's like, you're not going to punk me on television. And she did say that Gretch fight like a crackhead and has bit more strength than her. That's what she claimed. So that's why she acted the way she acted. But it's like, Gretch, man, you got to start playing dirty.
And that's what I'm saying. Suki is smaller. Suki was way smaller. Gretch is taller. Granted, Gretchen is skinny and light, just like the Suki. So I feel like, okay. But at the end of the day, like, if you see somebody playing dirty, I feel like, I don't know, Gretch, I have to hold you accountable too. Like, girl.
Yep.
You look going out like this don't look good either. Like
And
at this
no.
point, channel that old Gretchen. You know what I mean?
Right. And then Suki leaves the show, which pissed me the fuck off. I was like, you did all of that. And then you left. So not only were you protected, of course, right, by security, you were protected till the end of time while all these other girls have to fucking fight for their life, right? And you left. And none of the other girls, none of them got to confront you. None of them got to line it up with you. Nothing. None of them got to say how they felt about what you did. And I love how security just got her out so quick. They just got her out so quick. Like she came for that fight and then they literally got her out so quick, rushed her out.
Right. And Lex felt some type of way about that too, because obviously, you know, Gretch wasn't the only one that got maced. There's a bunch of girls that feel like they owe it with Suki. And I feel like, one, that is a part of the reason why she left so quickly.
Of course.
Was because she wasn't trying to deal with the other girls. She came in for Gretch for a show and that's it. But also, Tommy does the same thing. Tommy does the same fucking thing. So
Mace,
it's like,
bro,
doesn't matter. Tommy brought her goons.
and we spoke about that when she did that too.
But that's like an ongoing thing that Zeus Network does, where they have favoritism. Yeah, especially if you're a bigger name.
But the way they let Rolly and Tommy have their ones, the way they let Tink and Rolly have their ones, they actually are letting Tommy's fighting her battles, whereas Suki is constantly getting broken up and she's getting taken out, escorted out. Mm-hmm. That's very different. And not for nothing, we say the same shit about Tommy too when she brings the BB gun, when she has all these things under her sleeve. It's not okay. It's not fair. Fucking okay. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair.
And we say that. We hold her and Suki to the same account. But the difference is Tommy actually does her fair rounds.
Yeah, she comes
Suki
back.
Dead ass, like, not once did she get a fair round. And then you're macing an entire club. That, you topped Tommy with that one. Yeah. You maced an entire club, bare mace. Like, what are we talking about?
And I love how when Lex was talking about it, she was like, they were recapping, and this is later on in the episode, but they were recapping, and they're like, and Lex mentions like, yeah, you know, she didn't just mace Gretch, she maced all of us. Yeah. But I love how DJ Sky, good old grounded DJ Sky, mentions, yeah, and the audience, like there was a whole building, and that goes back to the same thing that I can always say, like these girls majority, which I get it, you're in survival mode, so you're not even thinking about the audience, right? But it's like, bro, the whole building fucking felt that shit, like especially in the front area. It wasn't just Gretchen.
Right. Yeah. And so to me, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think Suki should have been on the show. Like at this point, why'd you come back? Like, I just don't like that this is the last version I get of you. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, I look at her funny because you claim to, you know, be mad at Gretch because of the N-word, but you were more upset at the word bitch. Yeah. Like your initial reaction, why you hit her, why you got in her face was because she called you a bitch. But you're online basically saying, yeah, this is from my ancestors. You're writing the narrative of the N-word thing because that's how everyone hates Gretch in the media, right? But then you're sitting on a podcast with Bobby Altoff. Oh, yo, that's crazy. You're fucking right. I don't know, like it's just like you're more outraged. It's giving fake outrage over Gretch, right? It's giving that because the way you reacted the most was the word bitch. If you're gonna keep that same fucking energy, I don't know. Bro. I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch. Maybe it's a stretch. But I looked at her funny because it's like you have all this decorum, right? On sitting on a podcast with Bobby Altoff, and y'all do a show together. Y'all make, I'm sure, make good money together. That's great, right? And the public loves you guys together because it's a polarity, right? Opposites in the personality. Great, right? But I'm looking at you sideways. I wish you never went on Baddies again because it's like you know what? This does not determine how I view her because I don't know her. I'm sure she's still lit. I'm sure she's still making good music, right? I got no issue with the woman. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But in terms of what I saw on the television show and what I'm critiquing on the show, I just think it's funny that you're saying all this stuff and riding the wave, talking about ancestors this, but you're sitting on a podcast with Bobby Altoff.
Bro, that is a fucking great point. That is a great point. I can't even argue. I love Suki. Even after this, I'm like I said, it's like being so disappointed in someone that you like.
Right.
I love Suki so much. She's fucking hilarious, but I'm so disappointed in the way she portrayed herself this whole season. But you're absolutely right. That's a valid criticism. Like, you know, it feels like, you know, those people that when, you know, like with Diddy, they're like, oh, they just want to bring a black man down. They use like they cater towards the or the black community but it's fake outrage, because you're right. Like, you sitting there making money with Bobby Althoff, who has been disrespectful to the black community.
Right.
Way more than I think Gretchen has.
Right.
Because Bobby is not in the community. At least Gretchen be about the community. You know, Bobby was married to this white man before this, and now like she's going on with the thing where she only dates black men now, and she's like on a thing. But it's like, girl, you know, Bobby and Gretch are not the same thing. They don't come from that. Like, Gretch has definitely been around like the culture way longer, and she's not a grifter compared to Bobby. Whoa, that's a good point.
Yeah, so to me, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm looking at her a little sideways. Obviously, I still love her as an artist. You know, I still have love for her. I don't hate any of these women that I talk about on the show. At the end of the day, it's a show. You know, I'm not gonna go harassing these women and go in their DM. I actually touch grass, okay? But, you know, when I'm looking at things like that, Bobby has been in the media and has been scrutinized for basically using black men to basically profit her little career, and has been disrespectful to them too. And I guess made that a part of her brand. And it almost feels like an appropriation and not so much of an appreciation. And a lot of people have accused her of that. But you're sitting on a pod with Bobby Althoff. You know what I mean? It's just like there's a lot of stuff too that the community, and this is what I'm saying when I say they pick and choose.
Yeah.
And this is
fake
why
outrage.
Fake outrage. It's just like, keep the same energy, boo. Like, don't get me wrong. Their personalities together are great. I'm sure they make a lot of money together. But if we're gonna talk about one thing, let's talk about all of the things.
Correct.
So I just feel like this is fake, bro. This is fake outrage.
She's bullying.
Yes.
She's bullying.
Yes. And then you want to say this is for your ancestors. Then you want to bring Dr. Umar into it. But Dr. Umar kind of had a low-key issue with Bobby Althoff too. But whatever, right? Whatever. So now it's like, what is this? Is this real? What is this?
No, low-key giving bully.
It is
Because
giving bully.
and then to factor in the fact that she didn't act this way towards Rolly.
That's what I'm saying.
It's giving a little bit of bullying.
It's what I'm saying. And even like, you could have talked mad shit on the internet about Rolly. You didn't do none of this shit. And Rolly came for you hard. Rolly fucking embarrassed you. And
tore your friendship apart with Sapphire.
Literally. And this is why I'm just like, you know, I wish you just never came back on the show, because now it's like, there's a look. There's a look now. And it's like, you don't want this reputation. Like, this is not a good reputation. And I'm just like, damn, Suki, maybe you should have just never came back. Maybe like show up for like bookings, perform, be cute.
Right.
But I didn't expect her to like get into anything like this. She really didn't need to.
She didn't.
You didn't need to.
She didn't.
Like,
She's Suki, huh?
Yeah, Suki with the good coochie. You didn't even need to fight. Yeah. Why did you fight? It was never that deep. But maybe the fight with Rolly, she was very adamant about not looking stupid on TV. So she was extreme. I don't know. But that's all I gotta say about that.
But Gretch is crying because she feels like, you know, she's upset. There's a huge knot, even to the point where Scotty goes to console her and hug her. The girls are all like shocked, like, damn, Suki. Even the girls are shocked. Like, they're looking at Suki sideways too, because they're like, what the fuck?
It was never that deep.
And everybody's saying that.
Oh my God. It was never that deep, bro. And I just don't like how people are just making excuses for it. But whatever. Everyone's going to have their opinion the same way like we here on this platform are going to have ours. So then after that, Biggie, this is where Biggie's talk. Oh, it's DJ Sky. Rolly and DJ Sky, they're sitting down with.
Yes.
And Biggie's basically talking about how she just doesn't know how her and DTB fell out. And that's where she has a whole conversation with, like, I don't care if, like, you guys are still friends with her. You know, I'm not a hater. I'm not jealous to her. Like, mentions the same thing we talked about earlier with, like, her coming in with Rolly and how her and DTB used to be cool.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't like when she's a part of the clout chasing.
I mean, she was a victim of the clout chasing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
because
exactly.
I mean, she really came for Biggie out of nowhere. So, like I said, Biggie has every reason to feel the way she does. Like, it's not like it's coming from any type of jealousy. Like, Rolly, when Biggie came onto the show, Rolly literally was picking on Biggie because she was Spanish.
Yeah,
literally because she was Spanish, and I would genuinely believe it's because she was the other big girl. Like, that's literally it. So it's like, you know, when Rolly was acting funny, that whole thing, I was just like, but Biggie handled it well. She didn't take it personal. I feel like she was like, I don't care what side you take. Like, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Because that's why I know Rolly mentioned something like that.
Bro,
but
Biggie not knowing how to pronounce ethnicity had me weak.
Yeah, she was funny. I don't know what the fuck
she said.
I said, girl, say it in Spanish. Sometimes it's better.
At this point.
Yeah. Just say it in Spanish. I get it.
Right. Oh,
but yeah, so then at that point, Lex, that's when she complains about how it's not fair that Gretch, you know, she's on Gretch. A lot of the girls are on Gretchen's side. Point blank, period. Whether you agree with Gretch or not, like, the girls in the house who were there physically agree with, like, that it wasn't fair the way Gretch was treated. Yeah. But then after, Rolly wraps up the house meeting, says she's excited that DTB's back, you know, and that was it.
And DTB says that, you know, later she has a meeting with Natalie so that, you know, they could put their differences aside and hopefully she can perform and do what she got to do. Then Rolly and Scotty meet up, and that's where they catch up about DTB. They want her to stay the entire season. You know, this is where Rolly says that she thinks that Biggie has an issue because she's jealous. Scotty disagrees. And, you know, Scotty then mentions her issue with Natalie. But she also says that she feels that Biggie may have an issue with DTB because now Natalie has an issue with DTB, which I thought was interesting because I'm wondering if Biggie and Tavia are in that same category of just being like loyal soldiers for Natalie almost.
I noticed that there was a shift in Biggie ever since like that she came back, that there is that energy. So maybe, but at the end of the day, like I said, maybe there is that too can be true. But I feel like the other part is you can't deny that DTB came out of nowhere in the auditions and dragged the shit out of Biggie.
That's what I'm saying.
So for no reason.
Well, Diamond did go online and said that Biggie was just being annoying. Like, she was being a hater. She was getting mad at everything that DTB was doing. She was like, why does she get to do this? Why don't I get to do this? Why is she doing this?
That's Biggie
why
for
are you
you,
taking
though.
it? Right.
Yeah.
So that's why DTB did what she did, because Biggie just was being annoying and just wouldn't stop.
But I don't know if that's a valid reason to drag her the way she did. And it's like, I agree. Yo, like, okay, there's one thing to confront and have a fair one, but she came from the back and literally just dragged.
She did. That was so bad.
It was funny as fuck.
I was like, why did you know? I felt bad. I was like, oh my God. Like, why would you do that? The same way I felt bad when she did that to Natalie, I'm going to feel bad because I'm like, bitch, that was so uncalled for. When she did that to Natalie, that was so fucked up, bro. Like, Natalie just came to the scene and boom, like, for no reason.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like I said, Biggie has a reason, despite maybe that other stuff could be another, like the cherry on top of other stuff. But like I said, like, I don't know if DTB never did that. I don't know how it would look. So, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, and then Scotty mentions that she's going to do a workout with the girls.
Yeah, and she does do the workout, right?
Yeah.
Does she do the workout? Oh, no, she says she's going to do the workout, yes. But then this is where we see DJ Sky and, like, some other girls meet up, and then Dolly asking her if she lost her job just because DJ Ari's there. I'm like, oh, my God.
There's, like, a room with Nunu, Jayla, Dolly, and Lex, and then the two DJs come in, DJ Ari and DJ Sky.
Yep.
And, yes, Dolly being messy as fuck, but
this was so funny. It was a little shady.
It was shady.
It was because Sky was like, there are a few people that prefer me for their DJ sets, and DJ Ari was like, it was only Biggie. It was only Biggie. Like, don't make it seem like it was people. I was like, yo. Then the girls started laughing, and I'm like, damn, yo.
Whatever.
Doing her dirty.
But yeah, and then this switches to the other scene where Gretch walks into Smiley, Fauna, and Kokilla, and they're just recapping the
Why
whole
the fuck
thing.
Smiley talking about let me see your forehead? She knew exactly what she was doing. I'm happy Gretch said fuck you, bitch.
Yeah,
You
call her
are
out.
like really ridiculous for that. Got nothing better to do.
Yeah, and then Gretch says some weird shit like, let me see your titties. I'm like, what?
Because her titties are botched.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm crying. I didn't get that.
Isn't she the one that has the scarring on her titties? I
Girl,
think she does.
She's got
She
botched
has,
few things.
Yeah, so she has like scarring. I think so. That I got that.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think I saw like she has scarring, but I could be wrong. I
Shorty
don't know.
was unbotched, so you make sense. You know what I mean?
So then, Fauna basically wants to know what the beef is at this point, because she didn't think it was that deep, and, Summer at some point joins the girls, but Gretch basically just says that it's not fair, and she doesn't need all of that. And it's just like ridiculous at this point.
Yep.
And Killa said that she need that from Suki too.
Yep.
Which she also went on the internet and said that she had brass knuckles and that's why she didn't attack her there. Because people were coming after her like, oh, well, why didn't you do nothing when Suki was there? And she was like, well, she hit Gretch with something and she said she had brass knuckles. Why am I going to fucking go after her? Because, like, no, I don't want to deal with no bitch with no weapons.
Yeah.
So
it was funny because Jayla in her confessional says that Tommy and Suki have like a secret compartment because they be bringing weapons and you don't see it happening.
So now this is where DJ Sky, it switches back and forth, and DJ Sky's telling the girls that, the bear mace that Suki had was Tashiki's, right? And this is where all of the girls feel like Suki put everyone in harm's way and that things are just kind of unfinished, right?
Yeah,
They're unfinished. And Sky basically says that the girls are going to be on their way to the last city now.
Yeah.
And that they have to finish the tour with a bang. And
then they also asked Summer, like at some point, because they're switching back and forth from scenes, they asked Summer how they feel about Dolly being back. And then Summer's like, she's happy that they got through the fighting. But then it's funny because Fauna and Kokilla call her out on her bullshit because she's like, I would never do that to those girls. And they're like, but you been said you got something for them in Detroit.
True.
And she started stuttering.
She did.
She started laughing.
She did.
And then Gretch calls her a Suki Jr.
Yeah.
And then she was like, Summer's like, well, ain't nobody coughing and everybody was good.
She said, ain't nobody got pepper spray.
Yeah.
She said, my bitches fight fair.
Right. So I thought I appreciated those back and forths because I feel like Fauna and Kokilla were very honest. Like, I feel like a lot of people were just very straight up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm happy that they did that too because for the longest time, Summer was really trying to make it seem like, no, they came out for me. But clearly you were caught in a lie. Like, you did call people on them. Like,
right.
So that was very interesting. So now Jayla says that she thinks that Anna and Tink are going to be coming back.
This is where I realized Tink hasn't been around.
I was like, I didn't even notice that Tink was like gone.
Anna, I knew she was gone.
Right.
Tink, I did not realize she was gone. No offense, girl.
Right.
I was like, oh shit.
No, for real.
She was not missed.
Right. So the girls are basically happy that DTB is back. They hope that she stays. And, as Fauna, Gretch, and all of them, they leave the scene. Gretch says she gonna cook some. Killa talking about, I don't trust no white bitch cooking. And Gretch is like, I know why. And I was like, oh my God.
She said they don't got no seasoning.
Yo. I was like, damn, B.
That's why I said I fuck with Fauna and Kokilla this whole exchange because they was just straight up. They said, girl.
Yeah. And then you find out after that Gretch also leaves the show where I'm like, damn, for real?
Yeah, so there was a scene that says, shortly after breakfast, Gretchen decided that the best thing for her to do was leave the tour and go home.
Yeah.
Which, what the fuck?
Yeah, that pissed me off. That's what I'm saying. This whole episode pissed me off. I'm like, Gretch, Suki's gone now. Like, why aren't you stay?
And then I know she went online and said that they edit her a certain way, but I don't know, man. I'm just like, what happened between that conversation to breakfast? What did they do? What exchange happened? I don't know. This is like, she was upset But I don't know. She seemed like she was still able to push. I don't know. Gretchen went through a lot this season.
She did. But you're right to like even, inquire about that and wonder, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck happened from that to now?
Yeah.
Because she did in that clip seem fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe after a while it started to get to her and she was like, I gotta go. Or maybe something happened at home and she was like, I gotta go. But I don't know. I was just like, damn, we got no explanation. She just kind of like left the show. I was like, Suki's gone now. Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
But
and then we got the outro of her. I was sad. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I feel like a lot of the girls this season kind of Gretch grew onto them. Like, there was a lot of girls vouching for Gretch, which you didn't see that obviously the previous season.
Yeah, Caribbean.
Yeah, that she was on. So it was like people got to know her. She's actually cooler in real life than people gave her a chance. And it sucks because she did go through a lot this season.
Yeah.
And I feel like she went through a lot more this season than the season where she was being more disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because she was being disrespectful the last time she was on Baddies.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't care. She was just being a bitch. And you know what I mean? So it's like, but she wasn't on that this season yet. This season, she came out with stitches. She had knots in her head. She had pepper sprayed. And it's fucking crazy.
That was pretty wild, yo. I was like, the bear mace was so extra. I don't care what anyone says. I really don't. I really fucking don't. But whatever. Scotty works out with the girls outside. This scene was cute. It was cute. A little funny. Rolly was not giving a fuck about none of the workouts.
She was watching them smoking, yep.
Yeah, she was smoking her blunt. Did not care. Killer comes in, do a little front back flip or some shit. I was like, oh, that's cute. Okay, Miss Little Gymnastics.
Yeah. It was, my biggest surprise to me was a lot of the baddies could not keep up.
Yeah.
And Scotty's pregnant.
Right, yeah.
Shout out to Scotty.
But pregnancy doesn't disable you from being able to work out.
No, it doesn't. But it also shows how athletic and how much Scotty really She's working with the body, because you know what I mean? When Janelle said I could keep up because I do this, and then you see all these other girls struggling, I'm like, damn, letting the pregnant lady get to you.
Right. And then fucking Biggie tossing and falling over the floor. I was like, this is very chaotic. Like, this whole scene of them working out, I'm like, this is super chaotic.
I thought it was an interesting fact that Scotty's like, I've been talking about doing this for 7 seasons. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting, because again, at the end of the day, who calls the shots, right? We know who the puppet master behind everything. So it's funny that this was pitched from the very beginning and now we're just starting to see those things. I think it's just reflective of, the higher ups and what they like to see, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Meaning, like, how do I explain this? I just feel like, how like the formula for baddies became very stale after a while, but it was the same formula until probably this year. Like this season in particular, or maybe a little bit of the last season.
Yeah, I think a little bit of Baddies Africa.
Right, Africa, right. Yeah. Baddies Africa, that's when it started. But it feels like, when a business owner is very comfortable because the format works and that's what it is and that's what it was. It just shows like, there was it took a while to get the plumbers to be open-minded to, new things, if you know what I mean.
Do you think so, or you think it's because she's pregnant? And they're like, okay, you're pregnant. You can have it.
Because this whole formula for this season 2 is very different. They're not in a house. They're, they're in hotels. They're doing a tour. It's different. And same thing with Africa. You started to see
horseback riding. Like, what the fuck? Horseback riding?
You started to see the formula change. You know?
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was
fucking chaotic as fuck. But then we see Mariah, Tasiki, and Biggie. They sit down, and eventually Anna comes back, and they are catching her up on the entire tea, about Suki, Gretch, the mace in the club, like everything.
Eating the coochies.
Oh my God, yes, Lex and Summer. Yo, Anna was gagged.
She was gagged.
She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She was like, what the? I liked her confessional look, though. That shit, hey. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute.
It was cute.
Yeah.
And then also we see Sapphire and Mariah.
Yeah, Mariah decides to clear the air with Sapphire, which this really pissed me off. I'm telling you, this whole episode pissed me off because she wanted to clarify that she never mentioned the word sneak. She said fight when she told Suki. And I'm like, does it matter? You already told Suki.
Thank you. And
It
that's
doesn't
what
matter. You told Suki is the whole point.
You're the reason.
You're the reason.
Yeah,
that's the mace got in the club, bitch.
And that's why I feel like Janelle's confessional, she says that. She's like, girl, you over here picking like the semantics, but at the end of the day, you did the act. It's not about whether you said sneak or fight. It don't matter. You're the one that was being messy.
Right. It'd be one thing if she didn't say that at all and said something different. They put in words in her mouth, but girl, no, you told Suki. Like, that's the whole point.
Right. Exactly. And I can't with this whole back and forth because it's like, Mariah, shut the fuck up. Because even Sapphire was like, I didn't even mention your name.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to stand up.
Yeah.
You stood up on your own.
She inserted herself 100%.
As usual. As usual. When does Mariah Lynn not insert herself? She loves to insert herself.
Right. So that was stupid. They hug it out and, you know, Sapphire said she's not fighting her. That's fine. Then Natalie and DTB finally meet up.
So we get the B-roll. It says earlier the same day.
Yeah.
Get the dramatic music.
Yeah,
You got DTB talking about how, you know, last time she seen Natalie, you know, she broke her nose. So now she just want to fuck this bitch up.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're hoping they can get into common grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so DTB sitting down waiting for Natalie. And then Natalie come in. It's a little awkward at first. You felt the awkwardness?
It was so awkward.
It was so awkward.
And then fucking Natalie talking about, yeah, like, don't sneak me. Don't sneak me. You know, like, first of all, this whole sit down got me tight too, because I'm like, okay, so Natalie starts talking and she's like, I want to take accountability for what happened, for everything that happened, and, you know, the reunion, right? DTB shocked, like, whoa, Natalie wants to take accountability since when, right?
She said, where's Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, she
being
did.
punked.
She said, no, he's not here. I'm like, okay.
She was dragging it. She was trolling. DTB trolling.
Yeah, but Natalie saying, no, he's not here is crazy. Like, obviously, like, the fuck. Anywho, so then this whole thing was just so weird, okay?
You think so?
I think so. I'm going to tell you why. Because, yes, they needed to clear the air, but then DTB starts talking about what Natalie did that she doesn't like, right? You posing with the tooth, you going online and...
Natalie starts the conversation where she had to take accountability and she says, I thought back to when it first happened, and she mentions the tampon comment first. So I feel like, yes, but I was very impressed by Natalie being able to actually go back and actually tell you the first time she kind of disrespected DTB.
Right. And then, you know, she goes on to say that she didn't want to do that to her at the reunion. Like, it just got out of hand, whatever. She wants to take accountability for everything. So DTB is bringing up all of the other instances where you always apologize, but then you kind of like do funny stuff, like you posing with the tooth. You inserted yourself in a situation that had nothing to do with you, and that really hurt me. That was a vulnerable moment for me when I fought Tasiki and I lost my tooth. That was like a real injury. And you were posing with the tooth. You were talking shit online. You were doing all this stuff. It had nothing to do with you. We didn't have an issue. I thought we deaded it there, but then you did that. Then, you know, Natalie's apologizing, right? But this is where I found it weird, because Natalie's like, I didn't even know it was on the floor next to me. Girl, you dead ass use the energy to take up the tooth, to go like, and to go online and be like, DTB, your fucking tooth, like all this shit. Don't sit there and say, I didn't even know. Like, if you're going to take accountability, don't say I didn't know. It's like she took the accountability, but then she backtracked when it came to the tooth thing. And I didn't like that. I was like, girl, you know exactly what you did with the tooth. Just own it. Like, you thought it was funny, just say that. Like, take accountability for it.
I don't know if she necessarily, like, I guess how it can come off, it may come off as like a backtrack, but I feel like Natalie doesn't want to say what she actually wants to say on camera, which is, that's personality me. There's that, and that's why DTB, I feel like, picked up on that and was like, so, you know, you want to act like a castmate, because if you were a castmate, I'm going to treat you like a castmate, but then you can't hide behind the CEO title when you choose it when you want to.
Exactly.
Because that's essentially when I feel like when Natalie was like, Well, I didn't know. I think it was TV personality coming out where it's like that blurred line, and that's what DTB picked up on and was like, well, you can't be doing that because if you're the CEO, you're the CEO. But then if you're gonna act like a castmate, I'm gonna treat you like a castmate.
Right. Exactly. And I guess that makes a lot of sense when you put it into that perspective, because she was stuttering on her words when talking about that moment about the tooth. And I'm just like, why are we stuttering? And that's why for me, it felt off and it didn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
But I guess when you look at it from that perspective, that makes more sense.
And I feel like DTV picked up on that. That's why she said after what she said.
Right. But then she, DTV also brings up the live with Summer. Like, Natalie, you're in charge. You could have ended the live. You didn't have to continue. And it's like, granted, she didn't even say anything about DTB on the live. Summer did, right? And Summer dragged it. But Natalie, being the one that's in charge, could have just ended the live. Nope, we're not doing it. But she didn't. So, and maybe the live, she didn't think it was that big of a deal. But she eventually, she takes accountability for all of it too. But DTB, she seemed like she's not really fucking with it. She's not really fucking with it.
Well, because, after the apology and everything, Natalie says, because DTB, first of all, she's like, well, I want to fight.
Yeah, she does say that.
Natalie's like, well, I'm not fighting you unless we're on center stage and making money from it.
Yes.
Which, I get that.
Nat said that she doesn't want to beef with DTB because, she admits that DTB is practically her most valuable baddie, and they make good money together, and she wants DTB to come back as a baddie on the show because she realizes that.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
She even says, like, we're both entrepreneurs, so they both understand. It's like an unspoken language that they understand.
And I feel like that's the whole conversation, and that's why I appreciated this conversation. I wasn't mad at it because I feel like DTB and her speak the same language.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like they're very similar.
Yeah, and that's why when Natalie was stuttering, she didn't have to complete the sentence for DTB to even understand. You saw it in her eyes that she understood what she was trying to say without saying it. Yeah. But I thought what was very interesting, and I feel like a form of character development that you see in Natalie, is that Natalie admits, you bring value to my franchise.
Right.
I feel like, Natalie back in the day was too egotistical to even admit that. Like when Krishan was around, she would never apologize to Krishan and say she made her valuable. I feel like hearing those words out of Natalie's mouth shows growth in a way. Like, first of all, her taking accountability, being able to look back at the very first time she did to me, I'm like, damn, okay, she really did think about this shit. Because when you look at how she treated Scotty, you know what I mean? She's never taken accountability for the way she treated Scotty on the show. So it's like, when I see that, and then she tells DTB, yeah, you bring value to the franchise. I feel like you have to let go of your ego. And a lot of the times you see Natalie with the ego off the roof. So for her to say that, to apologize, to say, to listen, and I was like, this is a different Natalie.
No, but it is true though. DTB, in my opinion, I would say is up there with the most valuable baddies on the show that are the fan favorites that bring in the most money and attention. Like, let's be real.
Beyond entertaining. We missed her at the New York New York tour performance. Like, it was not the same without DTB.
Not. The fact that the crowd was yelling DTB, loud as fuck.
Yo, and the fact that I was hoping that the whole time that she would show up and then she never showed up, that disappointment was just like, damn.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, it's great that Natalie can at least acknowledge that, and I feel like DTB has an upper hand because of that, because it's like, I fucking bring value. Like, I think that's great for both. Like, I loved the conversation. I ain't gonna lie. I loved it.
Yo, Natalie said she getting old. She tired, yo. She tired. That's what it's giving. Yeah. But, of course, we think that the conversation's done, but then big DTB decides to throw her bag at Natalie.
Yo.
She said, I ain't gonna let you have this, bitch. I was like, okay, well, I saw that coming.
Yeah,
because she said she want to fight. Natalie said, I ain't fighting you. Yeah. And she said, fuck it, I'm going to get something out of this. That's what it gave. And that is where the episode ends. And then for the preview, oh my God, Tavy and Fauna, star-crossed lovers. They argue again. They argue. because I guess Natalie is with the girls at this spot, and Natalie is recapping the situation with DTB, saying that she wants to fight. Tavy says that no, she doesn't need to fight Natalie. And that's essentially why, you know, Fauna gets up and is like, you're dick riding. Like, why shouldn't she fight? Why shouldn't she fight? Which is really crazy to me. I'm like, Fauna, what? Like,
nah, but I mean, that tension's been building up, and I feel like.
But then she goes off on Natalie, and then, you know, they argue too, which Fauna, I guess, confronts Natalie for not being there the whole season. But it's like, Fauna, that's not really your place to confront Natalie. Like, leave that to Rolly, because Rolly and Natalie have been doing this in the beginning. You're still new. So in my opinion, I'm like, Fauna, what are you on? Like, I get that you are also a fan favorite, but like, relax. You just got here. You know what I mean? Natalie gave Rolly that position. So I think Rolly should handle that with Natalie. So just to see Fauna in the preview going off, actually trying to argue with Natalie, a little distasteful, but of course the fans are going to eat it up because no one likes Natalie. So they're just going to eat it up. So then Tommy also shows up, and Killa clearly wants that, but I don't know if she gets that. Then someone random fights Biggie. Who the fuck is that?
I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know who the fuck that is. But we will find out next week.
Yes, we will.
Right? And that is essentially the episode, and that's all the shit that got me tight. So, yeah, this whole episode just got me tight.
I'm dead.
Yeah, that was it. Overall, those are my thoughts on it. Like,
Yeah.
what about you?
No, I mean, I liked this episode. I mean, I did, because I liked
it too.
the conversation.
It was just getting me tight.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
It. You know, valid reasons. You know, Suki got me tight.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, overall, I enjoyed the episode. I did. I think we got some good information.
Yeah, for sure.
Some dialogue. I love a good dialogue.
For sure. Definitely had a lot of good dialogue.
Let us know what you guys think down below. Let us know what we missed. Do you feel bad for Gretch? Do you think this is her karma? Do you think that, you know, she needed to leave the episode? Do you think she got a fair one this season? Or do you think that, you know, the damage was already done?
Yeah.
You know, so put that in the comments below. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and how do you feel about Suki, you know, reacting this way to Gretch, but then being on a show with Bobby Alfalf? Like, definitely comment your thoughts about that too. If you know who Bobby Alfalf is, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.strange. And where can they find you, Tiana?
You guys can find me on Instagram at its.tianalock. You guys can find us on Instagram at
The Petty Headquarters.
You guys can find us on YouTube and all podcast platforms at
The Petty Headquarters.
Also, we are on Patreon, y'all. If you guys haven't seen the uncensored vlog footage of our experience at Jocelyn's TV premiere, Why Are You Here TV premiere, where she has male strippers fucking give us a show, definitely check that out, because that shit is fucking raw and uncut and uncensored. Yeah. So
Definitely.
the link will be in the show notes and the description. And we are also found on Patreon at The Petty Headquarters, y'all. We release episodes weekly. So with that being said,
This was your weekly dose of mess.